Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive on something pretty big, finding purpose and meaning in life.
Yeah, the age-old question, right?
Definitely. And we're going to try to unpack it all using this article called Finding Purpose and Meaning, Identification, Causes, and Solutions.
Sounds like a plan.
So first things first, how can we even tell if someone is struggling with this whole purpose thing? It's not exactly something you can just diagnose.
Exactly. There's no blood tests for lack of purpose.
Right. So how do we spot it?
Well, the article points to some subtle signs.
Subtle, huh? So we're talking like reading between the lines kind of stuff.
Kinda, yeah. Things that might seem like everyday ups and downs, but could actually be pointing to a deeper struggle.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me an example. What kind of signs are we talking?
Well, one is apathy. Like, have you ever noticed someone who used to be super into things, hobbies, activities, suddenly just losing interest?
Oh yeah, like their spark kind of fizzles out.
Exactly. It's like they're just going through the motions. Not really engaged.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way before, especially like after a big disappointment or something.
Totally normal to feel that way sometimes.
Hmm.
But when it becomes a pattern, it could be a sign that something's up.
Okay, so apathy is one. What else?
The article also talks about withdrawal.
Withdrawal, like from people.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're spending more time alone, avoiding social events, or just generally disconnecting.
I see. It's like they're retreating into themselves, trying to figure things out, but feeling lost.
Could be. And then there's this constant questioning of one's significance.
That sounds heavy. Like, what does that look like in practice?
Imagine someone who's always second-guessing themselves, feeling like they're not good enough, comparing themselves to others.
Oh, I know that feeling, that what's the point kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It can be really draining, demotivating.
Definitely. It's like a weight that just keeps pulling you down.
And the thing is, these signs can be easily missed or mistaken for something else, like stress or just a bad mood.
So we got to pay attention to the patterns, right?
Absolutely. If it's recurring and affecting their well-being, it's worth digging a little deeper.
Makes sense. So we've got these potential warning signs: apathy, withdrawal, questioning their significance. But what's actually causing this struggle? Why do people feel this way?
Well, the article dives into both internal and external factors.
Ooh, interesting. So it's like a nature versus nurture kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. Let's start with the internal stuff that's going on inside someone's head that could lead to these feelings of purposelessness.
Okay, let's get inside those brains. The article mentions identity crises. Makes sense, right? If you don't know who you are, how can you know what you're supposed to be doing?
Think of it like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
Whoa, okay, I'm visualizing this.
Right. You wouldn't know where to start, what materials to use, what the final structure should look like.
So we need that blueprint for our lives.
Exactly. Without a clear understanding of our values, beliefs, and passions, it's tough to build a life with purpose.
Okay, that makes sense. So self-awareness is key. But even with a blueprint, we can get tripped up, right? The article also talks about unrealistic expectations.
Oh, yeah, big time. We live in a world obsessed with perfect lives.
Ugh, social media, right? The highlight reel of everyone's best moments.
Exactly. It's easy to compare ourselves and feel like we're falling short.
Yeah, even when you achieve something, it can feel kind of meaningless in comparison.
And when those external expectations become our internal yardstick, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment.
Like chasing a finish line that keeps moving farther away.
Exactly. So it's not just who we are, but how we see ourselves in relation to the world around us.
That's deep. And then there's this thing about neglecting self-discovery.
Ah, yes. This is crucial. In our go-go-go society, it's easy to get caught up in the doing and forget about the being.
It's like we're all in this hamster wheel, constantly doing, but not really thinking about why.
Right. We're so focused on checking things off the list that we forget to ask ourselves, what truly brings me joy?
Yeah, what makes us us. It's like we're trying to navigate a maze in the dark.
Exactly. We're moving, but without a sense of direction, we might not end up where we truly want to be.
So we've got those internal factors: identity crises, unrealistic expectations, neglecting self-discovery. But it's not just about what's going on in our heads, right? There's external stuff too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even with a strong sense of self, external pressures can make it hard to find your purpose.
Like what are some of those external pressures?
Think about cultural expectations, societal norms, even family dynamics.
It's like we're swimming against the current, constantly battling these forces, trying to pull us in a certain direction.
Exactly. And it can be tough to break free.
Can you give me some examples of how this plays out in real life?
Absolutely. Imagine someone who's passionate about art, but comes from a family of doctors and lawyers.
Oh, yeah, like they're expected to follow a certain path.
Exactly. They might feel pressured to suppress their artistic side, leading to inner conflict and unfulfilled potential.
It's like they're living someone else's dream.
Right. Or think about someone living in a culture obsessed with material wealth and status.
Keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing.
Exactly. They might chase those things, even if they don't align with their values, leading to emptiness.
It's like they're chasing something that won't actually make them happy.
And sometimes these external influences can be even more, well, traumatic. The article talks about significant life events.
Oh, right, like major life changes.
Yeah, things like job loss, death of a loved one, serious illness, even experiencing discrimination.
Whoa, those are heavy hitters.
They can really shake our sense of self and make us question everything.
Like the rug's been pulled out from under you.
Yeah, it can be hard to find your footing in a world that suddenly feels unfamiliar.
So it's no wonder that purpose feels elusive in those moments. I'm curious to hear how people overcome these challenges, but first, maybe we should take a quick break.
Sounds good to me.
All right, we're back and ready to shift gears a bit.
Yeah, from problems to solutions.
Exactly. We've talked about all the things that can make finding purpose feel, well, kind of impossible.
Like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops.
Haha, yeah, pretty much. But luckily, this article doesn't just leave us hanging.
Nope, it's got some practical advice too.
Okay, good. Lay it on me, because I need all the help I can get with this climb.
Well, remember how we talked about self-discovery?
Yeah, knowing yourself and all that.
Right. The article suggests starting with journaling and self-assessment.
Journaling, huh? I've got to admit, I've always been a bit skeptical of that.
I get it. Seems a little too simple, right?
Yeah, like how can just writing down my thoughts help me find my purpose?
Think of it this way. Our minds are constantly buzzing, right? A million thoughts, worries, to-dos. It's like having a million tabs open in your brain all the time. Journaling helps us hit pause and sort through it all.
So it's less about finding profound answers and more about creating space for them to surface.
Exactly. By putting our thoughts and feelings into words, we start to see patterns.
Like maybe we realize we're always complaining about our job, or we light up when we talk about a certain hobby.
Exactly. It helps us become more aware of those hidden desires and values.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light, but just free writing can feel a little aimless. Any tips for making it more effective?
Definitely. The article suggests some prompts.
Prompts. Like what?
Things like, what activities make me feel truly alive? Or, what are my deepest values? Even something as simple as, what am I grateful for today, can shift our perspective.
Interesting. It's like giving our thoughts a specific direction to explore.
Right, and don't be afraid to experiment. Some people like stream of consciousness, others prefer more structured approaches.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly, what resonates and makes it feel meaningful.
Okay, journaling is about getting to know ourselves. But what about those self-assessment tools?
Those can be great for uncovering strengths and talents. Think about those personality tests or career quizzes.
Oh yeah, I've taken a few of those. Mostly for fun.
Right. They shouldn't be taken as gospel, but they can offer insights and spark new ideas.
But like maybe they highlight strengths you weren't even aware of.
Exactly. They can help connect the dots between your interests, skills, and potential paths.
It's like a personalized map for this whole purpose journey.
And beyond the online quizzes, there are more in-depth assessments you can do with a career counselor or therapist.
Oh, okay, so getting professional help is an option too.
Definitely. They can give you a more comprehensive picture of your potential.
All right, so we've journaled, taken some tests, and we're starting to get a clearer sense of ourselves. Now what?
Now it's time to put that self-knowledge into action by setting some goals. But here's the key. Start small.
Small, why small?
Because if you're feeling lost and overwhelmed, setting these huge, ambitious goals can be discouraging.
It's like trying to run a marathon before you can walk.
Exactly. Instead, focus on small, achievable goals that align with your values and passions.
Okay, so like baby steps toward a bigger vision.
Right. Maybe it's learning a new skill for 30 minutes each day, or joining a club related to an interest.
It's about building momentum, proving to ourselves we can make progress.
And as we achieve those smaller goals, we gain confidence to tackle bigger ones.
I like that. Okay, so we've reflected, we've set some goals. How do we actually start putting them into action?
That's where things get exciting. The article talks about engaging in activities that inspire growth and spark joy.
So it's not just about achieving goals, it's about enjoying the journey too.
Exactly. This is where thinking outside the box can be really helpful.
Like what? Give me some ideas.
Maybe it's volunteering for a cause you care about, taking that pottery class you've always wanted to try, or just spending more time in nature.
It's about injecting more of what you love into your life.
Exactly. Feeding your soul, nurturing your creativity, and reminding yourself that life's not just about checking things off a list.
Love it. But there's one piece we haven't talked about yet. The article mentions fostering connections.
Yeah.
What role do relationships play in all of this?
Oh, it's huge. We're social creatures, and our connections have a profound impact on our sense of self and purpose.
So it's not just about figuring things out on our own.
Nope. We need to lean into our support system.
Okay, so how do we do that?
The article talks about finding mentors who inspire us.
Mentors, huh? That sounds great in theory, but where do you even find one?
It often happens organically. Maybe it's a professor, a colleague, or even a family friend you admire.
So it's about being open to those connections and recognizing the people who can offer guidance.
Exactly. And beyond mentorship, there's the power of community.
Community, like joining a group or something.
Yeah. Finding your tribe people who share your passions and can offer support.
Especially if you're feeling lost on this whole purpose journey.
And don't forget about your existing support system. Opening up to friends and family about your struggles could be incredibly helpful.
It's like acknowledging that we don't have to do this alone.
Exactly. Vulnerability can be a strength.
Wow, we've covered a lot. Any tips for keeping it all straight?
Don't get overwhelmed. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about finding what works for you.
Creating your own personalized toolkit for purpose, right?
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to ask for help along the way.
Support is key. But one question keeps nagging at me. How do we know if we're actually on the right track? Purpose isn't a destination, it's a journey, right?
You're absolutely right. It's not about reaching a finish line. It's about embracing the process.
Okay, but how do we know if we're headed in the right direction?
Pay attention to how you feel.
So less about external markers of success and more about internal alignment.
Exactly. Are you experiencing more joy, excitement, flow? Does it feel like your actions are aligned with your values?
It's like that hell yes feeling, even if the path is bumpy.
Precisely. And if something feels off or misaligned, don't be afraid to reevaluate and adjust course.
So it's about trusting our gut and being open to change.
Exactly. This journey is all about exploration and experimentation. There's no one right way to do it.
That's reassuring. So it's about trusting ourselves and being open to the twists and turns.
Remember, finding purpose isn't linear. There will be setbacks and doubts. But by embracing the journey and seeking support, we can create a meaningful and fulfilling life.
I'm feeling so much more equipped to tackle this whole purpose thing now, but we're not quite done yet, right?
You got it. In the final part, we'll explore some real-life examples of people who have found their purpose. Hearing their stories can be incredibly inspiring.
I can't wait. I'm ready to be inspired. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into finding purpose and meaning.
Time to wrap things up.
And what better way to wrap things up than with some inspiring stories? You know, real people who have actually found their purpose.
I love a good story.
Me too. So, spill the tea. Do you have any good ones?
Well, I've got a few up my sleeve.
Okay, hit me with it.
Well, I recently heard about this woman who felt totally stuck in her corporate job.
Ugh, I know that feeling.
Right. Soul-crushing 9-to-5 grind.
Exactly. So what was her passion?
Baking. But she always saw it as just a hobby, something she did for fun on the weekends.
It's easy to dismiss those passions as just hobbies, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when we feel pressure to be practical.
So true. But her journey was really interesting. It wasn't a sudden, like, quit your job and follow your dreams kind of thing.
More of a slow burn.
Yeah, exactly. She started small, baking for friends and family, experimenting with new recipes, sharing her creations on social media.
Those baby steps can be so powerful, right?
Totally. And for her, those small steps led to a big realization.
What was it?
She realized that what she loved most wasn't just the baking itself, but the joy it brought to others.
Oh, that's sweet. Like her passion became a way to spread happiness.
Exactly. And that's when things started to shift for her. She started volunteering at a community center, teaching baking classes.
I love that, sharing her skills with others.
And she found so much fulfillment in it.
So did she eventually ditch the corporate world and become a full-time baker?
Not right away. She kept her job for a while, for stability, but she was working towards something she truly cared about.
It's like she found a way to integrate her passion into her life without doing a complete 180.
And eventually, yeah, she was able to transition into teaching full-time, even started a small catering business on the side.
Wow. That's so inspiring. It shows that finding your purpose is a process, not an overnight transformation.
Totally. It's about being open to possibilities, trusting your gut, and taking those little steps, even when you're not sure where they'll lead.
Love it. So, we've heard about someone finding purpose through their career. What about other areas of life, like relationships, for example?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's this guy I read about who was super successful in his career.
Like a top of his game, crushing it kind of success.
Exactly. But he realized he was neglecting his personal life, his relationships.
It's easy to fall into that trap, right? Society tells us success is all about work, work, work.
Yeah, but he was feeling empty, unfulfilled.
So what did he do?
He made a conscious decision to prioritize connection. Started spending more quality time with his loved ones, being more present, really listening.
It's like he had to relearn how to connect, after years of focusing on work.
Yeah, and the more he invested in those relationships, the more joy and meaning he found.
It's amazing how powerful those simple acts of connection can be.
Right. It's not about grand gestures. It's about those everyday moments of presence and shared experience.
So we've heard about purpose in career and relationships. Any other inspiring examples you want to share?
Okay, last one. This woman found her purpose through gardening.
Gardening, really?
I know, right? Not what you typically think of as a path to purpose. But she'd always enjoyed gardening, found it relaxing and therapeutic.
Gardening can be very grounding.
Right. And after going through some tough times, job loss, health issues, breakups, she really turned to gardening for solace and healing.
It's amazing how nature can do that for us.
Totally. And for her, it became more than just a hobby. It became a way to reconnect with herself, to find peace and meaning.
So what did she do with this newfound purpose?
She transformed her backyard into this amazing garden. Flowers, vegetables, herbs, you name it.
Like a little oasis.
Exactly. And as her garden grew, so did her sense of purpose. She started sharing her produce with neighbors, teaching gardening workshops.
I love that. Spreading the gardening love.
Right. It's like her passion blossomed into a way to connect with her community, to create something beautiful and nourishing.
It's a reminder that purpose can be found in the simplest things.
I couldn't agree more. And it shows that purpose is often about more than just personal fulfillment. It's about contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
These stories have been so inspiring. They really show that purpose can be found anywhere and that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Absolutely. It's all about embracing the process.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners out there who are still searching for their purpose?
Be patient, trust the process, and remember, you've got this.
And don't forget those tools we talked about. Journaling, self-assessment, setting goals, engaging in activities you love, connecting with others, those are your guideposts on this journey.
Use them wisely.
And most importantly, trust your intuition. You have everything you need within you to create a life that feels truly meaningful and fulfilling.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, the journey to finding your purpose is an adventure worth taking.